Hey guys, Super Trini GSP here. Man U tears. Never walk alone. We drink some Man U tears. And man, them really feel they were going to Manchester City to get something out of that game. Delusional Man U people as usual. So yeah, we're here. GSP Talk Sports with the weekend roundup of games. How the weekend went for you guys? Let me know in the comments. If you all would have watched the prediction video, you all would have remembered that I would have predicted a Arsenal win. Correct so far. One down. I predicted a Arsenal 3-0 win. You all actually, sorry, I predicted a Arsenal 2-0 win, and you all actually went one better with a 3-0. So well done there. Neil, Mr. Arsenal. Zubamendi with a double and Gyökeres with the other goal. 16 shots for Arsenal. They actually moved up to first, well, top of the table on the Saturday. We'll see how that developed as we go on. And only 5 shots of Forest. They actually had a shot off the bar from Wood early in the game. And yeah, so Arsenal easily predictable victory there over Forest based on current form. And yeah, first loss for Ange there. Sorry for Ange. Next match is coming up. Arsenal goes to Athletic Club in the Champions League, and Forest they travel to Swansea in the EFL or the Carabao Cup. Right. So moving on to Bournemouth versus Brighton. Bournemouth were 7th place, Brighton 11th place going into this match. I predicted a 1-1 draw. Bournemouth actually did better than I thought, and they actually beat Brighton 2-1. Right, so I was wrong on that prediction there. Bournemouth with Scott and Semenyo goals from both of them, and Brighton with a mini Toma goal in the 48th minute. So Bournemouth with that win, they actually moved from 7th up to 4th, right? And Brighton moved down to 13th place from 11th. So third successive win for Areola side Bournemouth, by the way. And we have Bournemouth next hosting Newcastle, while Brighton next hosting Spurs. So predicted a draw there. Bournemouth with the win. Moving on with the next match was Palace versus Sunderland. I had this one in the prediction as a 2-1 Crystal Palace. Knowing Palace has that, I would say, quality compared to Sunderland. But this match ended up 0-0, right? So Palace moved from 8th down to 9th, and Sunderland, they were 6th and they moved down to 7th. So just down basically one place each there. And yeah, Palace with 14 shots, 6 on target. Sunderland, 6 shots, 0 on target. So Palace basically should have won if you really want to check XG and, how the match actually went. But by the way, Palace extend their unbeaten streak to 15 now. And they next go to Millwall in the Carabao Cup. And Sunderland next hosts Aston Villa. So Sunderland, still doing great so far. Next match we had Everton versus Aston Villa. So in my prediction, Everton in 5th place versus surprising Aston Villa down in 19th, right? This one ended up with actual Everton 0, Aston Villa 0 as well. So another 0-0 draw there. Everton with 20 shots, but only 2 on target. Aston Villa with 7 shots, 1 on target. But remember, Aston Villa, who's their keeper? Martinez, Argentina, right? He saved some really top-notch shots. Well, saved 2 goals basically from Keane and Grealish in that match. Yeah, and Aston Villa travel to Sunderland next. Basically, a must win for them early on because they were 19th, stay 19th, and Everton from 5th moved down to 6th place. They have their next match away is interestingly the Merseyside Derby against my team, my English team. Yeah, so that one should be interesting. Hoping that Liverpool takes that. So moving on to the next match, Fulham versus Leeds. So in our prediction, well, my prediction, I had Fulham beaten Leeds 1-0. And this actually played out just as sorry, I had Leeds winning 1-0, and it actually ended up reverse with Fulham beating Leeds 1-0. Fulham were in 18th place, Leeds in 12th, and Fulham moved all the way up from 18th to 11th, and Leeds moved from 12th to 16th place with that 1-0 Fulham victory. The Fulham victory was actually a 94th minute own goal. So they got an own goal there. They only had 5 shots as compared to Leeds having 10 shots. So should have probably gone how I predicted there, but that's not how it always happens in football. Yeah, next match for Fulham, they host Brentford, and Leeds travel to Wolves in an early relegation 6-pointer basically there because yeah, as I mentioned, Leeds is one of the favorites. Well, favorites to possibly be relegated, and the way how Wolves are at the moment, which you will hear, it's that's a difficult time both of them having at the bottom. Next match, we're moving on to Newcastle versus Wolves. So talking about Wolves, prediction, we had Newcastle 3-2. Well, I had a Newcastle win, and Newcastle won 1-0. So I'm kind of wrong on the actual scores because, a lot of things can happen in football. A red card, a key injury, things like that could happen. And it's kind of really hard to predict the actual scores. But y'all can let me know for the next prediction video. We could go through possible predicted scores and see how it pans out, and predictions for wins and stuff like that. So Newcastle Wolves, Newcastle, they were 17th place. They moved all the way up to 10, and Wolves 20th stay on 20th. Right, 0 points so far. Torrid time for Wolves, early relegation candidates. Nobody wasn't really expecting that from Wolves. So Newcastle first win in 12 matches. So we had said that Newcastle haven't won a game since May 11th against Chelsea. So first win in 12, and 16 shots as compared to Wolves 8. And yeah, Wolves 4 straight losses. Newcastle next host Barcelona in the Champions League. Yeah, and Wolves host Leeds. So that's going to be interesting there to see what happens in that exciting bottom of the table clash. Next one, moving on to West Ham versus Spurs. So we had in our prediction here a Spurs 2-1 win. And basically how this one went was a Spurs 3-0 win. West Ham with a red card. So we rightly predicted the Spurs win, but we were thinking it was going to be Spurs 2-1. It ended up 3-0. West Ham with only 36% possession, by the way, Spurs 64. West Ham with only 7 shots as compared to Spurs 14. Right. As I mentioned, West Ham with a 54th minute red card, and Spurs, they actually move up from 4th to 3rd, level with Arsenal on points, but just behind on goal difference. And West Ham was 16th, they're down to 18th. So remember, I keep predicting, I predicted that West Ham will be possibly in the relegation battle, and so far they've been proving me right. Rudra, help your side, man. So yeah, The next for West Ham, they have the London Derby versus Palace, right? And Spurs, they actually playing in Champions Leagues next against Villarreal. So yeah, um, and moving on to next match, Brentford versus Chelsea. We had predicted a Chelsea 3-1 win, and this match ended up Brentford 2, Chelsea 2. So wrong prediction there. Chelsea, they were second place. They moved down to fifth. So you see how things are early on in the season, moving all the way from second to fifth with just a draw. And Brentford, they were actually in 15th place and moved up 3 places to 12, right? So really, really crazy with that little that little amount of movement for just 1 point. So Brentford, 7 shots, 4 on target. They actually had a higher XG than Chelsea. Chelsea had 15 shots and 6 on target. Um, Chelsea with goals from Palmer and Caicedo, by the way, and Brentford with goals from Schede and Carvalho. Yeah, and next Brentford go to West Ham, while Chelsea go to Man U on the Saturday, and well, actually on the Wednesday they play Champions League against Bayern. So we'll have to see how those, well, Chelsea going to go in Champions League back this week. By the way, I hope everybody is excited for Champions League. Uh, Staying on the Saturday matches, we predicted for over in Spain. Right, so we predicted a Real Madrid 2-0 win over Sociedad, just touching on the matches in Spain. It actually ended up 2-1 Real Madrid, right? So they stay in first, Sociedad stay in 17th. Oya Zabai with a penalty for Sociedad. Carvajal with a handball, by the way, to give up that penalty. And goals for Mbappe and Gula for Real Madrid. Real Madrid with 16 shots. By the way, Real Madrid were playing with 10 men from the 32nd minute. Huygen, the Dutch, well, the new centre back that they would have bought, he had an early red card. And surprisingly, Sociedad with 23 shots. So not really showing how the match ended up there. Next for Real Madrid, by the way, they host Marseille in Champions League. And also on the Saturday in Serie A. So we would have predicted Juve versus Inter. We would have predicted a 2-1 Juve win. Was a Juve, and it ended up 4-3. What a match! What a match in Italy. So Juve, they actually, even though they won 4-3, they ended up second on goal difference to Napoli, which you'll hear about. So they had 12 shots to Inter, 18 shots. Scorcher of a game there. Turan, two brothers. Turan scoring for Juve in the 83rd, and then, well, before that was the Turan brother for Inter scoring in the 76th. So in the Derby d'Italia there. So Juve on 3 wins. Juve next host Dortmund in Champions League, and Inter go to Ajax in the Champions League. So really, really big game in Italy there. Next game in Italy on the Saturday was Fiorentina versus Napoli. We had Napoli with a 3-1 win, and correctly predicted Napoli 3-1. Napoli moved from, they were second, they moved up to first, and Fiorentina down to 15th from 12. So interestingly, the Gea goal for Fiorentina. So, he's a good keeper. They could always be conceding more. For Napoli, De Bruyne, great to see the Man City reject at the moment, having a second life in Italy and doing well. He had a 6-minute pen. Hula, Golan from Manu, right? The big Manu reject. You know, Manu always basically damaging players' career. Good to see him on the scorecard as well. Rasmus, right? So I wish him all the best in Napoli, you know, because, you know, didn't want to see him do well at Manu. Why would I? And the Kima with the other goal for Napoli there. Napoli 14 shots to Florentina 19. And yeah, Napoli next go to Man City in Champions League. Florentina next hosts Como in the Serie A. So moving on to Sunday, we will go Sunday in La Liga, just to round up there. We had predicted 3-2 Barca win over Valencia, and Barca won 6-0. So doubles from Lopez, Rafinha, and Lewandowski. They ran riot there at home against Valencia. Sorry for Valencia. Barca moved up from fourth to second, early days, as I mentioned, and Valencia moved from ninth to 15th. Barca next go to Newcastle in Champions League. So that should be a really interesting one that we're looking forward to. And yeah, the other games. So La Liga for Sunday. So moving on to the EPL Sunday, we had two big ones here. Well, top of the table, Liverpool versus Burnley, and then we had the Manchester derby, right? So we'll go the Liverpool game first. We had predicted, well, I had predicted a Liverpool 4-0 win. Listen, Burnley went and parked the bus. It was crazy at defensive game. They were trying to get at point at home. So Burnley, they had 19% possession. Can you believe that? 19% possession, only 3 shots in total. Liverpool with 81% possession, 27 shots at 2.65 xg. So I mean, Liverpool deserve to win. Let's be honest. You know, haters gonna say, "Oh, no, we got away, whatever." Still not playing good. I will admit it. You know, and it took a 95th minute Salah penalty. Thank God Salah scored. Blatant. It was a clear handball, so no complaints from the host there. Liverpool close to 700 passes. I mean, we deserve to win. We didn't play the best, but we deserve to win. Burnley just trying to defense, got back at and yeah, so Liverpool coming away with a 1-0 win. Prediction on the scoreline was wrong, but thank God, perfect for 4 matches, 4 victories, perfect on top. No, it's early days yet, but hope we continue. Hope we you know our performances improve, and want to see us hold on to that first spot, and obviously at the end of the season to win our second on the trot and go to number 21. Yeah, do it for Jota. Yeah. So on the big one with a good team in Manchester versus this small side, red side nobody really cares about anymore. Fall from grace. Yeah. So we were we were predicting a Man City 3-0 win. Let's all know how I'm going with predictions now, man. Man City won 3-0. I mean, I would have rather they win more. I'm not a Man City supporter, obviously, right? Obviously. But anybody playing Man U, I want Man U to get licks. Yeah. Never walk alone. Glory, glory, what? Nah. So I enjoy this one, man. You move down from ninth back into there. Remember they had moved up before the international break to where were they? Ninth? Yeah, moved up from 15 to 9. They moved back down to 14. So back in their regular position. People predicting, oh man, you gonna get Champions League spots, top 10 even, whatever. bottom 10, 14th. So Man U with 12 shots, and City really should have scored more. Should have they probably have 5-6 nil. They threw away a good few chances. Foden in the 18th and Haaland with a double in the 53rd and 68th. I was predicting for Haaland to score more. So good one. It's always a good weekend when Liverpool wins, Man U loses. Man City next hosts Napoli in the Champions League, and Man U hosts Chelsea next weekend. So problems for Man U coming up. Alex, Ole, I'm backing Ole to do it on Man U. And yeah, I would love to see a Man U relegation battle. Let me know. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. And yeah, thoughts on the game this weekend. Um, we concentrating on EPL. As I would have mentioned in previous videos, my team in Spain is Real. So hard luck Barca people, I don't hate Barca as much as Manu. So Manu is yeah. And yeah, over in Italy, we touching on Italy as well. Juve being my Italian side. Um though my Napoli once is not AC Milan, So sorry, AC Milan people. Um yeah, so let me know what you all would like me to do more of, or if you are liking the roundup so far. And to all the Liverpool fans and basically everybody except Man U fans, yeah, one love, yeah. Um, Hope you all enjoying the football so far. Fourth match week, and looking forward to Champions League Saturday this week and some big ones coming up this weekend as well. So yeah, guys, don't forget like, share, subscribe, comment. Just be talk sports. Love you guys.